Good day and welcome to tonight's edition of the Evening Review. My name is Taiwan Jabela, your host for tonight, and let's look at today's front page of Namibian Sun. So welcome to this segment of the interview that we are going to have with the Secretary General of the Trade Union Congress of Namibia and also of the Teachers Union of Namibia, Mr. Mahongora Kavihuha. Welcome to the show, sir.
Thank you very much.
Yeah. Let's talk first about the state of your unions and your federation, in the sense that you are considered independent unions. You are not aligned to any political party. How does that principle benefit your federation and its affiliates?
Yeah, thank you very much. I think that the road was not easy when we introduced the concept of independence of trade unions, because many people believed that if you align to something, then you become useful. Yeah. However, we started with that principle. We mobilized the workers until they realized that the independence of trade unions is the way to go. What does independence refer? You mean that as an entity, as a labor movement, you should not have linkages with any political party or church or whatsoever. You need to be independent so that you can advocate the interest of your members independently, and you can even seek an alliance on particular issues with any setup. Let's say that maybe church are campaigning for BIG or for comprehensive protections. You support churches in that regard. X supporting about or is against about privatization, you support that person on that basis. That is how we have been. By the beginning roots, even inside the country and outside the country, as I'm talking to you now, last year in November, representing TUCNA, was elected in the governing body of ITUC Africa. That shows that is recognition when you are moving forward. And even from Namibia, we were even invited to go and make a presentations on the various union alliances with political parties and versus the independence. So we are getting momentum, and it has been helping us very much, because even our members themselves, they belong to political party of their choices. But when they are in TUCNA, we debate the policy issues. Then when you get out there, you can go to your political home of your choice. Yeah.
Does that put you in terms of because your biggest rivals in the country are actually aligned to the ruling party? Has that presented you with difficulties of your rivals being preferred in key negotiations, in key bargaining agreements? Have you seen a sense of discrimination where you see that the situation where you see that as independents you are sometimes alienated and stuff like that?
Very much. We have been observing that. The last 5 years, we advanced a letter seeking audience with the head of state so that we can meet. And those letters were not even answered. In various platforms, you realize that the government is not inviting us. And we understand the reason. Because if you invite TUCNA, TUCNA will ask you why. But if you invite someone else, that someone else will only go and clap hands with you. I take an example of the very crucial decision which was taken, which involved trade union, where there was an agreement that May Day must become a cleaning day. And although we are not part to that one in the State House, we stood up and we say that that will not happen. And we seek our international support as members of SATUC, as a members of ITUC Africa, and as a members of ITUC Global. And ITUC Global wrote a letter to head of state and he withdrew.
What was your position on the matter?
Our position was very clear. That day is dedicated to the workers. It's for the workers to decide what they're going to do with the day. Not any other person to decide what will be done in that day. And that's happened to all the other days, including teachers' days, good whatsoever. It's left to the trade union for them to decide on that. And that was our positions. And eventually, that position of us, even us not being invited to form part of that decision, our position is the one that prevailed.
Indeed. Your union, therefore, by virtue, the example that you just gave now actually underlines how influential your group of unions is to influencing policy. So what was just for interest's sake, what was your impression of the report that was tabled yesterday by the presidential panel on the economy? What was your initial assessment of that?
The initial assessment is that there are mixed feelings in the report as far as we're concerned. There is one component that we are plotting them for, proposing the establishment of severance fund. And that was part of the TUCNA's policy proposals from day one. Of course, they have added to be as a reserve fund, together funding the social protections program. And that was our principle. That's why we are plotting them for that. However, when you look at the report, it is more very shallow. It does not come to proposal that will change the structure of economy. It is just a cosmetics, and that's what we have a problem with. For argument's sake, if you talk about housing, yes, to give land free of charge, that has been our policy proposals, that's a fundamental one. But for the housing provision, they are quiet, meaning that the housing provisions to them should still belong in the hands of the rich, which is banks. They are not coming up with proposals on how to strengthen or even reintroduce the issues of building society, bringing the concept of cooperative in provisions of houses. And they come to to water provision is also, they're not fundamental. Like in our policy, we propose that each and every person, we have to calculate the average of consumption per person per day. And that first average, the government should give free of charge. Only on top of that, if you say that a human being can only use for basic things 5 liters of water per day, less that 5 liters given, and if someone used 10 liters, it means that the extra liter you're using for cleaning your cars and those kind of things, that could be charged. So we see that is a bit shallow. The other component I like under the employment, where they mention that there should be a national task force. To us, we are saying that we don't need to have task force. We don't need to be reactionary. We need to have an institutionalized social dialogue, a tripartite plus social dialogue, which means that you have a body established, and this body look at all cross issues, which including also monitoring and evaluations of all the programs. And in that body, we have carried out a comprehensive research how that body should function, which we presented to the Ministry of Labour, hoping that maybe they will present to Cabinet or they will invite us to come and do a presentation. So we don't need to work on those things. And also to the issues of internship. From beginning, we were thinking that these issues of labor will not work. We have to touch the internship issues to tax, so that the company, in order to eliminate, to minimize or eliminate the issues of administration costs. If you touch it to that one, means any company that have assumed the students for internship, you can be exempted for X tax whatsoever. And by now, we don't need to talk about programs. We need to talk about developing a law that will govern the engagement of internship, so that we can start compelling the companies, compelling the high institutions, those kind of things under that law in terms of taking in internship. Because our market is very limited, and if we leave it for someone feeling to do whatsoever, I don't think that we are going to reach what we want to reach.
And how do we proceed with the implementation of the content of this report, because of the Kavihuha report? Because for a long time, we've been a country that produces these brilliant blueprints, and then they just disappear from the radar. You never know where it went. What is the best way to really make sure that at least those that you agree with in that report get implemented?
And that's the problem that I'm saying. This high-level body it's coming to the end of his job. He will disappear. It's left in the hands of cabinet. But had we have the institutionalized social dialogue, this could have been now finding its right place in this institutionalized structure, social dialogue structure, which can now debate the report further. Because I read it from the new era now, where I don't know whether they quoted the report well or not. It's a new era, where they are saying that the government must desist from providing services using state-owned enterprises. Completely, that is out of context. There's no way that the government will become spectator in terms of service provision. They have to be active players and continue that way. So we need to find a platform where we can now meet each other and we look at the recommendations, we decide which one is appropriate for Namibia and which one is not appropriate. And how are we going to monitor the implementations of those appropriate? And I'm sure that some of the proposals the various sectors of society proposed, and maybe because now they are coming from the body that was set by the president himself, he will take those things that are mentioned in the report seriously. But of course, the public still need to interrogate the report.
Let me ask you a very blunt question, Mahongora. Where was your federation and its affiliates, especially those in the fishing industry, when people were losing their jobs in the sea?
When people were losing jobs, we have been debating that. There is a time even when we wrote a letter and said that why are we excluded from the Fishing Advisory Council? That was the beginning thing. We deal with the appointment of fish court board and those kind of thing, allocation whatsoever. We were excluded from it. And we questioned various ministers. Why are you excluding us? And they didn't listen to us. The issues of fishery and cutting, we talk about it. The issues of tax, Namibia being tax haven, we spoke about it until even EU itself classified Namibia to be a tax haven, which the Minister of Finance and the President vehemently denied. Now we have seen it. So these kind of things we have been raising it. And even the affected workers, we had various meetings with them sometimes. I mean, not always. Even before they came to the state, I traveled to Walvis Bay, we met them. Now, I don't know what is the way forward, but of course, the job losses and the economy of the country is a man-made. We made that ourselves.
In what sense?
In the sense that we institutionalize the corruption issue. We have appointed, we don't look at quality anymore to appoint people in state-owned enterprises and whatsoever. We have allowed companies not to pay tax. We have allowed ourselves not to put priority in place. We just spend the money as they come left, right, and center. So there are many things that we ourselves created. And that's starting even from education system. We have trained students that are not capable to question things. So I am happy with the youth now that some of them are keeping our leaders accountable and they are confronting issues. This is what we've been praying for many years.
Indeed. The fish rot scandal. What was your impression, your first impression of this whole thing? Did you have a moment like, and I told you so sort of moment, since you maybe had been sending signals about this kind of scandals happening, or were you caught by surprise like a lot of people in the country?
No, we are not caught by surprise. That's why even to the Gisela went to the extent of interviewing us. It's because we have been telling the government that, guys, what you are doing is not good, but they've been defensive. But for us who have inside information, who have looked at the documents, how the money was moving left and right and center, that when we start looking at those documents, that's only the shocking part that came. But as we saying it, the rot is not only in fishing. The rot is mining, the rot in land allocation, the rot is even in agriculture. You know what is happening in agriculture currently? According to our standard, apparently, the bananas from Angola cannot be consumed by Namibian. Now, the South African farmers, they load trucks using our Chicago border through to over the other side of Orange River. Then they packaged exactly the same banana, they brought it back. And then now, because just those banana went and make a U-turn in South Africa, they become healthy. And these things, the authorities are away. So the whole rot and corruption, we can list systematically how it's happening in most sectors. And yet, the head of state say the corruption is so systematic. You wonder.
And just the last one on the fish rot. Now, cabinet or government, as a matter of fact, is in the process of concluding the awarding of the next wave of fishing rights and fishing quotas. And there are two arguments there. One argument is that, you know, people have paid their money to assemble their proposals to government when they were putting together these applications, and therefore they must be given an opportunity to either be awarded or not awarded the things. And there's a second school of thought, which is that these applications are so tainted because when they were sent initially in 2018, August 2018, essentially they were sent to the Bernard Esau sort of regime at the time as a minister of fisheries, and therefore people say it is just too tainted for them to go through. What in your assessment would be the best way to handle this application?
Number one, fundamentally is wrong for us to give the fishing right to individuals. We need first to change the whole system. Going individual is not the way to go, because those are collective national resources, which cannot be personalized. So the whole process to start that people should apply, we have to get away from that. Whether we create cooperatives as per whatsoever that will govern and be receiving those licenses, or we deal with the situations where we can create a sovereignty fund where these resources generated from there go straight to that fund for it to benefit many other social programs. So to us, the individualism of national resources is what we don't want. You have seen that even the oil storage, the fuel storage or oil storage in Walvis Bay, it was built with public funds. But by the way, someone wanted to give to a private person. And we have to keep that. Things that are meant for public remain public. And so national resources are public. So if our national resources are given to Chinese, we need to be worried about, because we are capable of handling it.
Sure. Let's talk quickly about this coronavirus phenomenon that is so big, everybody's scared. Those of us who are football lovers, we are not sure whether we are going to watch the English Premier League this weekend, and so forth. As Secretary General of the Teachers Union of Namibia, what kind of advice are you guys, what kind of conversations are you having with the authorities as far as particularly the protection of children that are attending schools is concerned from this virus?
What is very important is that we were worried when the Minister of Health was talking about it's irresponsible to repatriate the people from back home from China. In fact, we are seeing that it's irresponsible for the minister to proclaim that we don't have capacity. The capacity is there. What we don't have is only the political willingness. And there is also good news when we heard from him that now we can at least test. However, what is disturbing and astonished to us is when the ambassador of China says that the Chinese that have returned, they have self-quarantine. How someone can have self-quarantine? So that is a joke of the day, and I'm sure that I was expecting a very strong reaction from the government to demand a close monitoring of those people and go and assess these things that is called self-quarantine. What does it entail and what does it involve? But the government kept quiet. So to us, as a labor movement, we are monitoring everything is close, and also as we have workers that are working in fishing, those people are coming in contact with many foreign people. We are in contact. Also with our sister unions in Southern Africa, we're in contact, especially the two countries where now the two cases are confirmed, Botswana and South Africa, in ensuring that what is the way forward. But should any case reported, we are going to demand the closures of schools And also, we are going to ensure that we put specific mechanisms at hospitals so that we can move forward.
Next week is Independence Day. And there's this debate also about potential international dignitaries coming to the country, passing through all sorts of airports and congregating with us at Independence Stadium. What dangers does that present, or is it okay to just go ahead and celebrate?
The issue here is that how ready we are. If we are not ready, and we are there to rescue the life of Namibian, we need to take a bold decision. If need be, and we are not ready, let's call off the day. Because we cannot rescue a single life of a Namibian, wherever he or she is. Because that is a threshold that we have. Therefore, who are those coming? It's a high time now already the Ministry of Information make it public, whom they have extended an invitation, who have confirmed, so that as the public can already start judging and coming up with specific proposals that they can propose. By now we don't know who was invited, who confirmed to come, from which country are they, and what mechanism put in place. So the Ministry of Information will come out and tell us what are the arrangements around that, so that the public can make a pronouncement around it.
The last question, Mahongora, is also related to independence. We expect, in anticipation, that on 21 March, the President is going to announce a reduced cabinet, a downsized cabinet. What is your take on that, and is it a welcome move? Will it make a difference that is intended to make?
The issue here is that there are few in the lists of SWAPO to Parliament who are competent and capable. We just hope this time he will not do what he have done yesterday. He's going to do the right job. And public have to a certain degree lost hope in him. Now he can only rebuild that hope through the appointment they're going to make to cabinet. He's going to rebuild that hope because he's been talking about institutions through the speaker that is going to appoint. Of course, I don't think that he will ever put his eyes on the current speaker plus the deputy speaker. We need to find the proper people that can make Parliament the house of the people, that can make Parliament not to be controlled by executive as the current now. We have seen that the capturing of Parliament and the judiciary by executive is not doing good, not to the President, not to the community. But if you want to be accountable, you make sure that the institutions that given the mandate to hold you accountable are independent in nature and in their function. Not only to be seen as independent, but they're independent in terms of carrying out their duty. Just an example now, if any Parliament committee want to go to a region, which office they use to communicate information? It's the office of the governor. Who's the office of the governor? President. Who's the head of that? Is executive. We go back to the basic, because governor also falling under the Ministry of Local Government. Instead of ensuring that even Parliament itself have its own office in each region, where community will come and give some questions even to be asked in Parliament to the ministers and all those kind of things. These things are not happening. So we need to enforce that and see how it's going to happen. And especially to make a Parliament accountable, we have proposed that there should be a chief web forum where all the whips comes together and they have a mandate whereby any individual or organization that have no political ties with any political party can just write to them. They are all sitting in the house and they receive the proposals as the same group, and then they take it to Parliament and see how to go about it. We propose this even in the Parliament that is ending now. We met the Speaker, and that's standing a natural death. And we are going to revitalize again the same proposal when the new whips, chief whip would be appointed after 21st March.
Mahongora, thank you very much for coming.
Thank you very much.
We appreciate your input on all the topics that we discussed.
Thank you. Let's keep on the dialogue.
We hope to see you again back very soon.
There are many things. Let's be issues based.
I know.
Yeah, we have many things to deal with.
That is Mahongora Kavihuha. He's the Secretary General of the Trade Union, Union Congress of Namibia, and also the Secretary General of the Teachers Union of Namibia, talking to us about what you just listened to. Thank you very much for watching, and good night.